Hello everybody and welcome to a Grimdark Future Firefight Battle Report. The Human Defense Force versus Dark Elf Raiders. Commander Kruit and his squad of Human Defense Force soldiers are on the run. They recently faced a superior enemy in the dreaded Robot Lord and barely managed to escape with only one casualty, the sniper. Check out that battle in episode 1 of the Clash on Crapus 4 campaign. They're now moving towards a pickup zone, and the only passage is through an old pumping station. It's a perfect place for an ambush, so they approach carefully. The Dark Elf elite warrior Dhoros and his party of raiders have recently followed the High Elven noble Shakarth, who they know is on a secret mission on Crapus 4. When Shakarth clashed with a clan of orcs, Dhoros decided to hide in a nearby pumping station. Now, a scout has returned with news of someone approaching. Before we begin, we just have to check the condition of the sniper. And with a 5, he is alright. With a roll of 1, he would have been dead. So he can now rejoin the ranks of Human Defense Force led by Commander Kruit with Plasma Pistol and Energy Sword. He still have Sergeant Dooney with Shred Rifle, a Flamethrower, the Sniper, and an Infantry Squad with 2 regular rifles and 1 Shred Rifle. All in all, 250 points of Human Defense Force. On the other side, 250 points of Dark Elf Raiders led by Dhoros with Energy Sword and Blast Pistol, then 2 Tortured Warriors, one with Agony Whip and another with Syringe Pistol, and 3 regular warriors, all armed with Blast Rifles. And all the warriors here are true raiders, and they are fast. The squads will deploy like this, with Commander Kruit in the Player B deployment zone and the Dark Elf Raiders in the Player A section. Let's take a look at the battlefield with 3 central positioned objectives. Objective number 1 on the left on the pipeline, number 2 on the right on the pipeline, and number 3 right in the middle of the pumping station. Commander Kruit has deployed his men here in the lower left side, divided into 3 groups. On the far left, the infantry squad with a task of moving quickly towards objective number 1. Dhoros and his Dark Elves have deployed like this. 2 warriors in the central position, Dhoros himself and the Tortured Warriors right here, and a single warrior on the far right of the battlefield close to the pipeline. The player who controls the most objectives at the end of turn 4 will be the winner. So let's begin with a roll-off: red dice for the elves and black dice for the Human Defense Force, and Captain Kruit will have the first turn. Let's move to round number 1. First unit to activate is the infantry squad. And just like they are told, they move quickly towards the first objective, and they seize the objectives with ease. The next to activate is the Tortured Warrior with the Agony Whip. He will pass the pipeline and position himself in cover behind the building here. Then it's Private Miles here with the Flamethrower. He will rush towards the pipeline and position himself close to the infantry squad. One of the warriors here behind the central structure moves 6 inches. He's still in cover, but he can see the infantry squad. And they are also in cover, so he needs force to hit 2 shots with his blast rifle. He would have needed a 5, but since he's a true raider, he has a +1. And he hits with both shots. So now the infantry squad have to make 2 6s to defend, and they fail, and that means 2 infantrymen are going to leave the battlefield. Now the recently recovered sniper moves behind the crate to have a shot at the Tortured Warrior He is in cover, so he will need a 3+ to hit. And he hits, and with an AP1 of the sniper rifle, the tortured warrior actually needs a 6 to defend. And that's a success. No wounds. Now another warrior moves forward and takes a shot at the sniper. 2 shots with the blast rifle, needing 3s, but since he's in cover and he also has a stealth, he needs 5s to hit. So no hits. Sergeant Dooney prepares to fire back at the warrior. He has 3 shots with his shred rifle and he needs a 5 to hit. So 1 hit going through, and the warrior will need a 5-up save. And he fails. So 1 hit going through, and he is now wounded. He will have to roll on the wound chart to see what happens. And with a 4, he is stunned. The warrior at the far right of the battlefield moves a bit closer to the pipeline, but he's still out of range, so he can't shoot anyone. Commander Kruit now decides to make a very risky move that will leave him completely out in the open. But he can see the stunned warrior, and by taking a shot with his plasma pistol and needing a 5, he can take him out of the game if he hits. And he gets a 6, so a perfectly executed shot that immediately takes the warrior out of the game. Nice move, but very risky. The tortured warrior moves closer to fire back at Commander Kruit. He has a syringe pistol with 12 inches range and the deadly special rule, and he needs a 5. And that's exactly what he gets. So Commander Kruit is now hit, and he has to defend on a 5+, and he fails. And that means he will get 1 wound multiplied with 3 because of the deadly special rule. So 3 wounds to Commander Kruit now, who has to roll on the wound chart. And with a 6, that risky move didn't pay off. Commander Kruit now is out of the game. And finally, Dhoros, the Elven leader, moves up and seizes objective number 2 here. And that's the final activation of the first round. So if we take a look at the battlefield here, the Human Defense Force troops are spread out. They have seized 1 objective, but they have also lost Commander Kruit in the process. The Elven Raiders stand stronger, closer to the 2 objectives, but we will have to see what happens in round number 2. First unit to activate in round 2 is the sniper, who moves a bit closer, still in cover, and takes a shot at the tortured warrior needing a 3. He fails with a 2. Then the Elven warrior moves closer to the objectives and fires 2 shots with the blast rifle against the sniper needing 5s. And he hits with a 6, and now the sniper has to roll a 6 to defend, and he succeeds. He's a better defender than he's a shooter. Since Commander Kruit left the battlefield, Sergeant Dooney now is in command, and he moves up and fires 3 shots with his shred rifle against the tortured warrior here. He needs 5s, and that was a really poor performance. Now the tortured warrior charges back at Sergeant Dooney. He has 2 close combat attacks, and he needs 4s to hit. And he makes 2 hits. Now Sergeant Dooney has to make 2 5-up saves, and he completes them both. He is standing strong, and he has a possibility to fight back 1 attack, needing a 4, and he fails. It's not over for the tortured warrior yet. The surviving infantryman moves up and fires his shred rifle. 3 shots and needing 5s. And he gets 1 hit, so now it's a 5-up save for the tortured warrior. And he makes the save. No hits. The warrior who took out most of the infantry squad moves up behind the crate and fires 2 shots with the blast rifle at the flamethrower. He needs 4s. So 1 hit, but it's AP 4, so the flamethrower will need a 6 to defend. And that was just too difficult, so 1 hit going through, and he will need to make a roll on the wound chart. And with a 4, he is stunned, but very close. And he was just stunned, but he immediately jumps back up, ready for the next round. The tortured warrior with the agony whip uses his 12-inch charge range to attack the sniper. He needs a 4 to hit, and he misses, and now the sniper can attack back. It's not his specialty, but he can hit with a 4, but he also misses. And finally, the Dark Elf leader jumps over the pipeline and positions himself here behind the building. He has a very short range of 6 inches with his gun, so he can't hit anyone. A somehow fatal round for the human defense force, Commander Kruit is no longer in charge. The Dark Elf raiders are right up in their faces, and they only control 1 objective. It's not looking good for the remaining human defense force soldiers. Their only chance now is to take out as many raiders as possible, as quickly as possible. And Sergeant Dooney activates first, moves back to get a clear shot at the tortured warrior, 3 shots with his threat rifle hitting on 4s. And 1 hit going through, and it's a 6 and rending, so the tortured warrior needs a 6-up save, and he makes it. So, no wounds. Now the tortured warrior activates, moves back and fires back at Sergeant Dooney, 1 shot with his deadly syringe pistol. He needs a 5, but only gets a 2. The private with the flamethrower jumps over the pipeline to have a clear shot at the raider. 6 shots with the flamethrower, and he needs 4s. And here we have a good deal of hits, 4 hits. It's AP nothing, but the Dark Raider needs 5s to defend. And let's see. He misses all of them. So 4 shots, wounds. And he has to make a roll now on the wound chart. And with a 6, there is absolutely no doubt that he is knocked out. Nice flaming shot by the private. The raider on the far right jumps over the pipeline and takes cover behind the crates. He fires 2 shots at the sniper, needing 5s to hit. And with a 6, 1 hit is going through unless the sniper makes a 6-up save. And he is far from that. So 1 wound and a roll on the wound chart. And with the 4, it's a total of 5, and he is still in the game. The sniper hasn't activated yet, so he immediately jumps up and is no longer stunned, but that's all he can do in this round. And it's not over yet for the sniper, because the warrior with the whip attacks. He needs a 4, so that's a hit with the whip, and the sniper needs a 5-up defense. And unfortunately only 4. So 1 more wound for the sniper, who goes back down. Now let's see if he's stunned or he is knocked out. And with a 5, that's a total of 7, and that means he's out. The remaining infantryman fires 3 shots at the warrior. He needs 5s. He has a clear shot, but still a 5 up to hit. And he gets a 5 and a 6, and that means 1 rending shot and 1 normal shot going through. So first, the warrior will defend the rending shot, and he will need a 6. And he doesn't do that, then he needs a 5 for the second shot, and he blocks none of them. That means 2 wounds for the warrior, and he has to make a roll on the wound chart, and with a 6, he is shot directly out of this battle. The final activation of this round is the Dark Raider leader who moves in cover. But the round isn't over yet, because now the Dark Raiders is down to half their starting strength, so we need morale checks. They all need at least a 4 to stay in the game. And beginning with this Tortured Warrior, we have no problems. The next Tortured Warrior, not enough, so he immediately runs away. And finally, Dhoros, the leader, what will he do? He needs a 4, but it's a 2, so he also runs away. A complete turn of events here in the third round. A very unusual comeback by the human defense force. They still only control 1 objective, but now they have the upper hand on the battlefield with only 1 tortured warrior remaining. His 2 buddies just left. Let's go to round 4. Sergeant Dooney takes matters into his own hands. He moves out in the open to have a clear shot at the remaining tortured warrior. He has 3 shots with his red rifle, needing 4s to hit. And he gets a 6, which means it's a rending shot. The tortured warrior now needs a 6-up save, and he can't regenerate. And he gets a 4, which is not enough. So he goes down with 1 wound. This could be the victory for Sergeant Dooney and his remaining men. Let's see a roll on the wound chart for the warrior, and it's a 5, and he is also knocked out. So no Dark Raiders remain on this battlefield. Despite Commander Kruits' reckless move where he was taken out of the game, the infantrymen now can seize the second objective. And since there are no raiders left on the battlefield, we can conclude that Sergeant Dooney has led the remaining Human Defense Force squad to a huge victory over the Dark Elf Raiders. And here we have the winning side, Sergeant Dooney, Private Miles, and the remaining infantrymen in a Human Defense Force victory. Now we need to check on the casualties. So let's begin with the sniper here. For the second game in a row, he was taken out, but he recovers with a 4. And Commander Kruit himself, he gets a 2. If he had rolled a 1, he would have been severely injured, but now he recovers, and they can continue their quest. Thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you will join me for future bat reps.